My 32M parents gave my entire inheritance to my sister, 29F, for her fourth wedding, and now they're demanding I help pay their bills. Using a throwaway because this is deeply personal, and I need unbiased perspective on whether I'm overreacting or if my anger is justified. I'm going to try to lay this out as objectively as possible, but I'm still so angry that my hands are shaking as I type this. This situation has completely blown up my family, and I don't know if there's any coming back from it. Background on my sister. Let me start by introducing you to my sister, Claire. Claire has always been the golden child. I don't say this with bitterness. It's just a fact that anyone in my family would acknowledge. She's charming, outgoing, beautiful, and has this way of making everyone fall in love with her within 5 minutes of meeting her. Growing up, I was the quiet, studious one who got good grades and stayed out of trouble. Claire was the charismatic one who could talk her way out of anything. My parents adored her. Still do. And I get it. She's easy to adore. The problem is that Claire has never had to face consequences for anything in her entire life. Every mistake, every bad decision, every moment of poor judgment has been cushioned by my parents' money and willingness to bail her out. Let me give you a timeline of Claire's romantic history, because it's relevant. Wedding number 1. Age 21, Claire married her college boyfriend, Ryan, right after graduation. They'd been dating for 2 years. My parents paid for everything, and I mean everything. The wedding cost roughly $45,000. Destination venue, designer dress, open bar, the works. Claire wanted a fairy tale wedding, and my parents made it happen. The marriage lasted 11 months. Claire decided she was too young to be tied down and that she'd made a mistake marrying the first guy she fell in love with. My parents paid for her divorce lawyer. Cost approximately $8,000. Wedding number 2. Age 24, 3 years later, Claire met David at a yoga retreat. They dated for 4 months before getting engaged. My parents expressed some concern about the timeline, but Claire insisted he was her soulmate. Another big wedding, though slightly smaller than the first. Cost approximately $35,000. This marriage lasted 18 months. Apparently David wanted kids right away, and Claire wasn't ready. My parents paid for another divorce lawyer. Cost approximately $10,000. It was more contentious this time. Wedding number 3. Age 26, Claire met Josh through mutual friends. They dated for 8 months before getting engaged. I actually liked Josh. He seemed like a good guy, stable job, treated Claire well. My parents were more hesitant this time, but still paid for the wedding. Cost approximately $30,000. Claire insisted on a smaller wedding but still wanted it to be elegant and memorable. This marriage lasted 2 years, the longest yet. They divorced because, according to Claire, they grew apart and wanted different things in life. My parents paid for the divorce lawyer again. Cost approximately $12,000. If you're keeping track, that's roughly $140,000 spent on Claire's romantic misadventures. And my parents never once complained. They always said, "We just want Claire to be happy," or "You can't put a price on your daughter's happiness." My situation. Now, let me tell you about my life during this same period. I went to college on a partial scholarship and worked 2 part-time jobs to cover the rest. I graduated with about $35,000 in student loans. My parents helped where they could, but it was clear that most of their resources were going to Claire. I got my first serious girlfriend, Amanda, when I was 25. We dated for 3 years, moved in together, and got engaged when I was 28. Amanda was amazing, kind, intelligent, hardworking, and she loved me for who I was, not for my family's money, which was good, because I didn't have any. When we started planning the wedding, my parents sat us down and told us they could contribute $10,000. I was grateful, I really was. Amanda and I had been saving, and we knew we'd be paying for most of it ourselves. We planned a beautiful but modest wedding at a local venue. Cost about $25,000 total, with Amanda's parents contributing $8,000, my parents contributing $10,000, and Amanda and I covering the remaining $7,000. The wedding was lovely. It wasn't as extravagant as Claire's weddings, but it was perfect for us. We've now been married for 3 years, and we're incredibly happy. During this time, I also paid off my student loans by age 30, bought a modest house with Amanda, with a mortgage we could actually afford, advanced in my career through hard work, never asked my parents for financial help beyond that wedding contribution. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to illustrate that I've been responsible, self-sufficient, and haven't been a financial drain on my parents. The inheritance discussion. About 5 years ago, my parents sat Claire and me down for a family meeting. They explained that they'd been doing estate planning and wanted to be transparent about their finances and what we could expect as an inheritance. My parents aren't wealthy, but they're comfortable. My dad worked as an engineer, and my mom was a teacher. They lived modestly, saved diligently, and invested wisely. At the time of this meeting, they explained that their estate was worth approximately $800,000, including their house, valued at about $400,000, and retirement savings. They told us that there was stipulated that everything would be split 50-50 between Claire and me. That meant roughly $400,000 each, after estate taxes and expenses. They emphasized that this was our inheritance, our security, and that we should factor it into our long-term financial planning but not rely on it. I remember this conversation vividly because my dad got emotional. He said, "We know we haven't been able to help you kids as much as we would have liked, but we want you to know that when we're gone, you'll be taken care of." I was touched. Amanda and I had already been talking about starting a family, and knowing that there would eventually be some financial cushion was reassuring. We didn't factor it into our immediate plans, but it was there in the back of our minds. Claire meets Tyler. Fast forward to about a year and a half ago. Claire, who had been single for about a year after her divorce from Josh, met Tyler at a friend's wedding. Ironic, I know. Tyler is a personal trainer, very good-looking, charismatic, and, according to Claire, the one for real this time. They dated for 3 months before getting engaged. 3 months. When Claire announced the engagement at a family dinner, I saw my parents exchange a look. My dad cleared his throat and said, "Honey, that's wonderful. But don't you think you might want to wait a little longer? Get to know each other better." Claire got defensive. I knew with all the others pretty quickly too. The timing doesn't matter when you know someone is right for you. "But sweetie," my mom said gently, "this would be your 4th wedding. Maybe you should take some time to be sure." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I can't believe you don't support me. Tyler is different. This is different. I've learned from my mistakes, and I know what I want now." The classic Claire playbook. When questioned, become emotional until everyone backs down. And they did. My dad sighed and said, "Of course we support you, honey. We just want you to be happy." The wedding planning. Claire immediately started planning an elaborate wedding. She wanted to get married at a resort in Mexico with a week-long celebration, all-inclusive accommodations for guests, the works. She started sending Amanda and me links to resorts and telling us to block off a week in our calendars. Amanda and I were concerned. A week off work, plus flights and any additional expenses, would cost us several $1,000s. We have good jobs, but we're also trying to save for a house upgrade and to start a family. A week in Mexico for Claire's 4th wedding wasn't exactly high on our priority list. I gently suggested to Claire that maybe a destination wedding was ambitious, especially for guests who would need to take time off work and pay for travel. She dismissed my concerns, saying, "It's going to be amazing and everyone will love it." Then came the conversation about the wedding budget. Claire wanted the same kind of elaborate wedding she'd had before. But this time my parents said no. I wasn't there for this conversation, but Claire called me immediately afterward, sobbing. According to her, my parents had said they couldn't afford to pay for another big wedding. They'd already spent so much on her previous weddings, plus the divorces, and they were getting older and needed to think about their retirement. Claire was devastated. Not because she couldn't have the wedding, but because, in her words, they're choosing money over my happiness. I tried to be sympathetic, but internally I was thinking, well, yeah, you've had 3 weddings already. Maybe you should pay for this one yourself. But I didn't say that. I just listened while she cried. The terrible idea. A few weeks later, my parents called and asked if I could come over for dinner. Just me, without Amanda. That should have been my first red flag. I arrived to find Claire already there, along with my parents. Everyone looked uncomfortable. My dad started talking. Son, we need to discuss something with you, and we need you to hear us out before reacting. My stomach dropped. He explained that Claire was heartbroken about not being able to have the wedding she wanted. She'd been looking at her finances, and she and Tyler couldn't afford the kind of wedding she'd envisioned. She considered going into debt for it, but my parents had, wisely, advised against that. So we've been thinking, my dad continued, about the inheritance we discussed a few years ago. I didn't like where this was going. We want to give Claire her portion of the inheritance now, so she can have the wedding she wants. She's our daughter, and we want to see her happy while we're still alive to enjoy it. I sat there, processing. Okay, I said slowly. So, you're going to give Claire her $400,000 now instead of after you pass. That's your money, your decision. Well, my mom said, looking down at her hands, it's a bit more complicated than that. My dad jumped in. The thing is, most of our assets are tied up in the house and retirement accounts. We can't liquidate those without significant penalties and tax implications. The most accessible funds we have are in a savings account that we've been keeping for emergencies and future expenses. How much is in that account? I asked. About $450,000, my dad said. I still wasn't understanding. So give Claire the $400,000 she's inheriting and keep the rest for yourselves. My parents exchanged a look. Claire was crying quietly. The thing is, my dad said, if we give Claire $400,000 now, we need to make sure things are still equal between you kids. So we'd be giving you your $400,000 as well eventually. Eventually? When we pass away, you'd get the house and whatever remaining assets there are. I started to get angry. So let me understand this. You're going to give Claire $400,000 right now for her fourth wedding, and I'm supposed to wait until you die to get mine? How is that equal? It's equal in the end, my mom said weakly. No, it's not. I was trying to keep my voice level but failing. Claire gets $400,000 now, which she can invest, use, enjoy. I get $400,000 in what, 20 or 30 years? Do you understand the time value of money? Do you understand that $400,000 now is worth significantly more than $400,000 in 30 years? Claire spoke up, her voice shaky. I knew you'd be selfish about this. I turned to her. Selfish? Selfish? You've had 3 weddings that our parents paid for. You've had 3 divorces that they paid for. You have blown through over $140,000 of their money on failed marriages, and now you want another $400,000 for wedding number 4? And I'm selfish. This is different. Claire cried. Tyler is the one. And you've never needed their help. You have Amanda, you have your house, you have your perfect little life. I'm just asking for this one thing. One thing. Claire, you've asked for everything. Over and over and over again. And they've given it to you every single time, while I've gotten nothing. My dad stood up. That's not fair. We paid for part of your wedding. $10,000, Dad. You gave me 10 grand, and Claire got 45,000 for her first wedding alone. Do you even hear yourselves right now? The argument escalated. I said things I probably shouldn't have. Claire said I was jealous of her. My mom said I was being cruel. My dad said they were just trying to make everyone happy. Finally, I stood up. You know what? Do whatever you want. It's your money. But don't pretend this is fair or equal, and don't expect me to just smile and be okay with it. I left. Drove home shaking with anger. Amanda was horrified when I told her what happened. The fallout, Part 1. Over the next few days, I got several messages from family members. Apparently, my parents had told their siblings, my aunts and uncles, about the situation, and the family was divided. Half of them thought I was being unreasonable. It's their money, they said. They can do what they want with it. My Aunt Linda even called me and said, "You're upset about money you haven't even received yet. That's pretty entitled." The other half thought what my parents were doing was crazy. My uncle Mark, my dad's brother, called me and said, "Your parents have enabled Claire her entire life, and this is just another example. You have every right to be angry." I was hurt that my parents had aired our private family business to everyone, making me look like the bad guy. After a week of silence, my dad called. "We've made our decision. We're giving Claire the money. The paperwork is being finalized." "Okay," I said coldly. "You're still our son. We still love you. And you'll still get your inheritance."
Sure, Dad.
"In 30 years.
Got it."
"Don't be like that." I hung up. The wedding. Claire's wedding happened 6 months ago. It was exactly as elaborate as she wanted, destination wedding in Cancun, week-long event, every detail perfect. She posted constantly on social media about her dream wedding and her perfect husband. I didn't go. Amanda and I sent a card with no gift and a polite excuse about not being able to get the time off work. Claire was furious. She sent me a long text about how I was punishing her for being happy and how I was a terrible brother. I didn't respond. My parents were disappointed, but didn't push it. I think they knew that me showing up would have caused a scene. From what I heard from relatives who attended, the wedding was beautiful.
Claire looked happy.
Tyler seemed nice enough. The whole thing cost around $180,000 after everything was said and done. Venue, travel, accommodations, food, entertainment, her dress, everything. $180,000 for a wedding.
Her fourth wedding.
I tried to move on. I was still angry, but I figured I'd distance myself from my family for a while and focus on my own life. The current situation. Then 2 weeks ago, I got a call from my mom. "Honey, I need to talk to you about something." "What is it?" "Well, Dad and I are having some financial difficulties." I felt my blood pressure spike. "What kind of difficulties?" "After giving Claire the money, we didn't have as much cushion as we thought. And then Dad needed some unexpected dental work that insurance didn't fully cover, about $8,000. And the roof on the house is leaking and needs to be replaced. That's another $15,000. And our property taxes went up. We're stretched thin." I waited. "We were hoping maybe you could help us out? Just for a little while, until we get back on our feet." I laughed. I actually laughed. "You want me to give you money?" "Just a loan, honey. We wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate." "How much?" $15,000 would get us through the immediate problems. I was silent for a long moment. "Let me make sure I understand this. You gave Claire $400,000 of what was supposed to be my inheritance. She spent $180,000 of it on a wedding, her fourth wedding. And now you want me to loan you $15,000 because you're broke? It's not like that." "That's exactly what it's like, Mom. You gave away my inheritance, and now you want me to pay you for the privilege. We're your parents. We're asking for help. Where's Claire?" I asked. "She just got over $200,000 in leftover money. Why isn't she helping you?" Silence. "Mom, why isn't Claire helping you?" She and Tyler are using that money to buy a house. It's all tied up in their down payment and closing costs."
Of course it was.
"So, let me get this straight. Claire got her inheritance early, spent $180,000 on a party, is using the rest to buy a house, and now you want me, who hasn't received a single dollar of inheritance, to bail you out of the financial hole you created by giving Claire all that money." "When you put it like that." "How else should I put it, Mom? Because that's literally what's happening." She started crying. "We made a mistake.
We see that now.
But we're your parents and we need help. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" "It used to," I said. "I have to go." I hung up. The family reaction. Since then, it's been a shit show. My dad called and was angry with me for talking to your mother that way and for abandoning your family in their time of need. I told him that they abandoned me the moment they chose Claire's fourth wedding over treating their children equally. Claire called me absolutely furious. She said I was punishing our parents for supporting me and that I was selfish and cruel. Asked her why she wasn't helping them if she was so concerned. She said her money was already allocated and that she and Tyler had plans. Plans that involve spending $180,000 on a party? I asked. She hung up on me. My extended family is now fully involved. Half of them are calling me heartless. They're your parents, they say. They raised you, they fed you, they put a roof over your head. You owe them. The other half is on my side, saying that my parents created this situation through decades of enabling Claire, and they need to figure it out themselves. My Uncle Mark called and offered to loan my parents the money himself, specifically so I wouldn't be put in this position. I appreciated that, but apparently my parents declined because they're embarrassed. Amanda is fully team me. She's furious on my behalf and has been my rock through all of this. But even she's starting to wonder if maybe we should help them just to keep the peace in the family. Where I'm at now, I'm torn. On one hand, they're my parents. I love them, even though I'm furious with them. The idea of them struggling financially bothers me. On the other hand, this is a problem entirely of their own making. They chose to give Claire $400,000. They chose to enable her for decades. They chose to treat their children unequally. And now they want me to fix it? If I give them the $15,000, I'm essentially rewarding their behavior. I'm teaching them that they can screw me over, and I'll still be there to bail them out. And that money isn't nothing to Amanda and me. We're saving to start a family, and $15,000 would be a significant hit to our savings. But if I don't help them, I'm the bad son who let his parents suffer. I'm the heartless one who chose money over family. And the reality is, I might never have a relationship with my parents again. I also can't help but think about the future. My parents are in their early 60s. If they're already having financial trouble, what happens in 10 or 20 years when they're actually elderly and need help? Will I be expected to support them because they gave away all their money to Claire? And what about my inheritance? They keep saying I'll still get it when they pass. But if they're broke now, what will be left? The house with a new roof? That's maybe $400,000 split between Claire and me, so $200,000 each. That's half of what I was originally promised. And Claire will have gotten $400,000 plus her half of the house, so $600,000 total. How is that fair? The latest development. Yesterday, my mom showed up at my house unannounced. She was crying. Please, she said. I'm begging you. We made a mistake. We see that now. But we're drowning here. We need help. I let her in. We sat down. She told me that they've been trying to get a loan, but their credit isn't great because of some investments that went bad a few years ago. They've been putting the roof repair on credit cards, and the interest is killing them. What about Claire? I asked. She has $220,000 sitting there. Why can't she give you back $15,000? She and Tyler already made the down payment on their house. The money's gone. Mom, they didn't buy the house yet. They can back out, get their earnest money back and help you. Or they can buy a cheaper house. We can't ask her to do that. She's so excited about this house. So Claire's excitement about a house is more important than your financial stability. More important than holding your daughter accountable. Mom didn't have an answer. Let me ask you something, I said. If the situation was reversed, if I had gotten the $400,000 and Claire was the one you needed help from, would you be at her house right now begging? Or would you tell her it was understandable that she couldn't help? Mom looked away. That's not fair. Answer the question. It's different with Claire. She's more sensitive. She needs more support. She's 29 years old, Mom. She's not sensitive. She's spoiled. And you and Dad spoiled her. You've spent my entire life prioritizing her feelings, her needs, her happiness over mine.
And you're doing it again right now.
That's not true. It is true. I stood up. I have been self-sufficient since I was 18. I paid for my own college. I paid off my own debt. I bought my own house. I planned my own wedding on a reasonable budget. I have never asked you for anything beyond the normal support parents give their kids. And what did I get? A promise of an inheritance that you then gave away to fund Claire's fourth wedding. And now you want me to pay for that decision? How is that fair? How is any of this fair? Mom was sobbing now. I know it's not fair. I know we failed you. But please, we need help. You're our son. And Claire is your daughter. Ask her. I'm asking you. And I'm saying no. The look on her face broke my heart. But I held firm. She left. I haven't heard from her since. So here I am. It's been radio silence from my parents for 3 days. Claire has been posting on social media about her beautiful new home and how blessed she is. My extended family is still arguing about whether I'm right or wrong. Amanda thinks I did the right thing, but she's worried about the long-term consequences. These are your parents, she said last night. Even if they're wrong, is this the hill you want to die on? Maybe it is. Because if I give in now, I'm setting a precedent for the rest of my life. I'm telling them that they can treat me however they want, and I'll still be there to clean up the mess. But I also miss my parents. Despite everything, I miss them. And I feel guilty. They're struggling, and I have the means to help them, and I'm choosing not to. Am I the asshole here, Reddit? Should I give them the money to keep the peace? Should I demand that Claire help first? Should I offer to pay half if Claire pays the other half? Should I just cut my losses and accept that my family will never treat me fairly?